Agree or disagree, let's go ahead and jump in with 2 feet. Agree or disagree, our nation has spoken. I'm not here to use my pulpit to make any bombastic or negative comments about President-elect Trump. Please understand this, because let's go here, because there are some Christians that believe this is God's pick. Then there are some other Christians that think this is the devil. Somebody lying. And so because this is why you pay the price of admission, because prior to the election results, I noticed a growing amount of Facebook philosophers and Twitter theologians posting erroneous dialogue concerning praying for their particular candidate. Let's go ahead and clear the deck on this, because there is a difference between praying for the president and praying for a president. Okay, watch this, watch this. All right, let's go Bible. 1 Timothy 2, verse 1. Some of you have been around long enough, you know this. 1 Timothy 2, verse 1, Message translation simply says, the first thing I want you to do is pray. Ooh, y'all Christians make me sick. He says, I want you above everything else to pray. Everybody shout pray. Jesus says, I want you to watch and pray. He says, the first thing I want you to do is pray. Pray every way you know how to pray. He says, pray in every direction watch this. Oh, this is so big. He says, pray every way you know how to pray for everyone you know. Y'all got quiet on me. He says, I want you to pray for those people that you like. And people you got issues with. Pray for the family member that's dealing with cancer. Pray for your baby daddy. I heard somebody cuss in the back. I heard you. There's an echo in here. I heard you. He says, first thing I want you to do is pray. Pray in every manner that you know how to pray. Intercession. He says, pray across the board. Pray for everybody that you know. He doesn't say, I don't know, the Holy Spirit got me stuck on it. He didn't say just pray for those that you can benefit from. Pray for everybody that you know. He didn't say pray for just those that you get along with. Pray for everyone you know. He didn't just say pray for those that you know are going to pray back for you. He says pray for everyone you know. Now watch this. Here's the kicker. Pray especially for rulers and their governments to rule well, so we can be quietly about our business of living simply in humble contemplation. So this speaks to praying for the president, not praying for a president. Okay, let's go. So watch this. So here's where it gets interesting. So now that you know this, please do not blame the election now on God's preferred will. Because they'll say, well, he's there because this is God's will. This is God's man. This is the reason why he won. So this is God's will. So when he didn't win, it was the devil. So now that he's in there, this is God's will. So now watch this. Don't blame this election on God's preferred will. So now watch this. Well, Pastor Mike, how it happened? So you have to understand there's certain things that God prefers for us to do, prefers for how we live, prefers for how we function, how we operate, how we do certain things. But then there's other things, there's something called God's permissive will. In other words, this isn't God's best for you, but he'll allow it. And certain things God will allow, not because he says, all right, well, they'll be fine in what I allow. He says, no, this is what you asked for. So let me go ahead and give you what you asked for. Okay, I don't want to lose you, because let me help free some of you. God is neither Democrat nor Republican. God is not even American. I know that hurts. Some of you is like, oh my God, so God is not even American. So to pray for my choice of either is to assume God is involved in our democratic process. Who come here? And so now you cannot ask God to be a part of a process that you asked him to stay out of. You can't say we want separation of church and state until God's hand becomes beneficial to your candidate. Bars. And so I can't want him to be in it, and I've already asked him to stay out of it. Watch this. So now you have the children of Israel. There was a time they were asking God for a king. God says, what do you want a king for? I am the King of kings and Lord of lords. Why do you need a king? He says, I am the king. God is not a God of democracy. God is a God of theocracy. Okay, watch this. To all my parents, I had to explain to my children early on, that this is not a democratic household. It's what I say. That's it. So God is not a democracy. Democracy, people have a vote and a choice. Theocracy, God reigns. And so either I want God to be Lord of all or not Lord at all. And so we can't be in this position because they said, well, God, we want a king because watch this, every other country has a king. And God says, well, you don't need a king, you got me. He says, well, God, go ahead and give us a king, God, so that way we can do what we need to do. Not God's preferred will, but God says, okay, you want a king? Let me provide you someone. He gives them King Saul. King Saul starts off operating well, doing things good for the people. After a while, King Saul starts losing his mind. The people start complaining. People start tripping. God has to come in. This is where King David comes into play. And God's like, I gave you what you asked for. All right, tell my praying. Be careful what you asked for, because you just might get it. He said, I gave you, asked for King Saul, I gave you what you wanted. So, okay, here's a great question. Are you mad because God didn't acquiesce to your preferences? I'm going to deal with some stuff on Tuesday Bible study. So are you mad because God didn't acquiesce to your preferences? Or are you mad because a system that was never designed for you didn't work for you? All right, bear with me for a second. Let me put y'all on game. Because you have to understand where my history people at. Abraham Lincoln on January 1st, 1863, declares with the Emancipation Proclamation that all slaves would be free. And of course, those that know that 2 years later, it doesn't become all slaves until 1865 because the word doesn't get to everyone everywhere. So 1865, all slaves are free. Frederick Douglass goes on to say, slavery is not abolished until the black man has the ballot. So now, catch this. Do you want to know what else happened in 1865? You have the formation of the Ku Klux Klan. And so, okay, let's roll, because now Lincoln was a Republican. The white segregationist politicians who governed southern states in those days were Democrats. The early Democratic Party was built by slave owners. Don't miss this. And so now the early Democrats owned slaves. They were built in the South. And then there started to become a shift that takes place throughout the years. And so now, fast forward to all my white family members, I encourage you to peek in from the periphery, because understand this, for African Americans, you are allowed to vote in 1870. Under the 14th Amendment, but truth be told, we weren't really allowed to vote until 1965. 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson passes the Voting Act. Watch this, Lyndon B. Johnson was a Democrat. Where are we going? Because now you start seeing the shifting of people in different classes. So school desegregation and busing, talking about Brown versus Board of Education, the outlawing of legalized racial discrimination, the increased federal dollars for social welfare problems, and the sharp increase in black voters changed legalized racial structure. So now you start seeing the shifting. And so here's the thought process. The more Negroes who register as Democrats in the South, the sooner the whites who feared a black planet will quit the Democrats and become Republicans. And so here we go, because here's what I wanted to get you to understanding regarding this election process. Neither party had you in mind when it was created. And not only that, America didn't have you in mind when it was created. And so now that your preference didn't win, you're upset at an America that never hid her hand. Oh, come here. Okay, I'm trying to help. This is the same America that wiped out an indigenous people, enslaved another, flooded neighborhoods with drugs and guns, and that's just on U.S. soil. And so now we talking about building a wall to keep terrorists out. I'm concerned with the terrorists that were born right here. And so we see this. So here's what I want to get you to. Stop being surprised when sick people do sick things. Why are you surprised when sick people throw up on you? America never hid his hand on terms of who they were. So, okay, don't talk to me about who's in the White House if you didn't take time to vote on who's sitting in Congress. Don't talk to me if you didn't help to vote for who your mayor is. Don't talk to me if you didn't put in the ballot on who's sitting in your judge as a judge. Because watch this, you didn't even vote for your HOA. Your children are suffering because you won't go sit on the PTA board. And you're wrestling about all kinds of stuff except the things that you can change. And so here's why I'm on my soapbox. Let me cook. Because we deal with this, and here's what I noticed. Because if they can divide us, they can conquer us. I saw the sleight of hand taking place. I saw where they were pitting black men against black women. And I was tripping in my mind because, watch this, Malcolm X said, the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. I'm not telling you who you should have voted for. I'm not even telling you that you should have agreed with her policies and the things she was trying to do and or her past record. I'm simply saying that once you start dogging her publicly, you give permission for the rest of the world to do the same. Last time I checked, the prophet said, and since we all came from a woman and got our name from a woman and our game from a woman, I wonder, why do we take from our women? Why we rape our women? Do we hate our women? I think it's time that we kill for our women. Time to heal our women. Be real to our women. Ladies, if don't nobody else care, your pastor cares. Keep your head up, because it's this idea, we all we got.